Computers down थे सबका रुक गया था.
Computers रुक गया था, correct. So what was the impact? Further, you're right, sir. But what is the further impact?
सारा जो routine work था सारा disturb हो गया.
Huh?
Routine work disturb हो
Routine
गया.
work.
Appointments, OPDs, operations.
You got it right. That's what I was pointing out to. OPDs. Stop. You were saying something?
Delays in treatment.
Delays in treatment. It's very similar to the gentleman that he said there. While we may all talk of cyber, big things, all of that, but at the end of the day, the doctors were not able to see patients. That was the impact. I mean, we can all say, so many things happen, but at the end of the day, nothing can be more critical than that, right? Doctors are not able because it's all E-enabled systems. OPD was not functioning. OPD was functioning, but the interface between the patients and the doctors was not happening. Right? That was the criticality. And we also have heard of attacks on Tata Power, which was the public news again. There was a significant attack there. Let me see if I can use this. Can I use this? So looking at the current scenario, we are fortunate. We have moved from agriculture to industrial to mobile to IoT, many other revolutions that we will see in our lifetime. We are seeing from barter systems, we have seen up to digital currencies. We are seeing digital currencies, we are seeing cryptocurrencies. How many of you have heard of cryptocurrencies? Right? So we are seeing all kinds of new things that are coming up. Villages, towns, cities to smart cities are happening today. Web 1.0 to 3.0, 2G, 3G, 4G. This is difficult, but if I can have one here, that would be better. So 2G, 4G, 5G, now 6G is also in later stage of development. We have seen Mandi commerce to digital commerce, and you will see a session a while later. There are some of my colleagues also talking about ONDC. Right? You'll hear that very soon. From virtual reality to augmented reality, all these are technology-enabled movements that are happening today. We are all seeing it on a regular world. But are we really fortunate? The cost of global cybercrime is $5 trillion. Cyber attack is happening every 11 seconds. More than 8 lakh malwares are there getting created every day. 64% of the population are victim of cybercrime. Indian customers are losing 9,000 crores per annum. It's a staggering numbers. It's an organized crime. Now, all of this is important. All of this is statistics, right? We always wonder, all this is outside me. I will not get impacted. These are big corporates, all big companies, big individuals all facing it, not me. But that's not the case. You and me face the electricity bill scammers. How many of you have received this mail saying if you do not click on this, the electricity will get disconnected? Right? All of us have received. Aadhaar fraud, we have heard of this. Paytm, this message is very common. Your KYC, otherwise it will get suspended. Click here. Something of this kind. Cloning of attacks, these cloned fingerprints. These are a little sophisticated. How many of us have heard this instant loan app? Right? Click here, you'll get instant loan. I'm struggling with loan with my bank. Why should I worry about this? Click here and you'll get it here. Why bother? There's so many such ads that are happening all around. I can keep going on and on and on. But the point over here is, nobody gives money for free, right? Except for our parents, right? No, money is not available for free. It will always come at market rates. If somebody is promising you instant, please do not buy that other than Maggi noodles. Right? I'm not a proponent of Nestle, so don't take me. Nestle, instant noodles is what I meant. I never meant Maggi as a brand. So if somebody is promising you instant solution to your problems, that is not the solution to the problem. Right? Please beware. Do not click on links that are given to you do not get, do not share your OTP with anyone. All of these awareness campaigns are already happening. Be very careful when you are logging in into your banking accounts. I'm very careful over here, right? Be very careful. When you go back home today, just check in your bank accounts, have you put in limits or not? There are limits for online fraud, online transactions, there are limits for point of sale transactions. Your bank provides you these. If you have not done it, it's your problem, not the bank's. But if you have provided for it and if you are still defrauded, your bank will give you the money back. Right? When you go to a restaurant, you flash your credit card. Right? How many of you ask him to bring the POS machine to yourself? And how many of you give him the credit card and you swipe करके लेके आओ मुझे मैं sign कर दूँगा यार I will key it in. Don't give the credit card away because your CVV number is behind it. Always be cautious because it's your hard-earned money. And this is not to say that do not transact online. You have to transact online because you have to move with the world. You can't say I will not transact, right? But at the same time, I have to transact carefully. Right? So there are multiple types of frauds that are happening. If you have any question, please feel free to interrupt me. I can take up questions immediately, right? You don't need to wait till the end. Right? There's housing allotment scam. I'll give your friends and foes allotment letter very easily. There is this online lottery system, medical seat allocation system. How many of you have, you don't need to answer me, have a complex password for anything and everything? You have, right? So other day one of my television providers came to my room because my TV needed some remediation of the set-top box, right? I was not getting the right word. Set-top box. So so he changed the set-top box and then it asked for Wi-Fi address, right? Wi-Fi password. So I told him, look, can you just step out? I'll give you. He said, Wi-Fi में क्या problem है? अब दे दो. तो Wi-Fi तो आपके घर के अंदर से ही हो सकता है, right? Wi-Fi तो घर के बाहर से नहीं हो सकता है. So just key it in. So I said, no, please step out of the room. Sorry, I'm very sorry to be asking you this. Step out of the room, let me key in the Wi-Fi password, then I'll put it in. Because your Wi-Fi password is one way to get into your network. Please remember. Do not share your Wi-Fi password even for your television because your television is connected to your Wi-Fi, your laptop is also connected to your Wi-Fi. You use your laptop for your banking transactions. I'm assuming some of you do, right? All these are on network. We are on networked world. That is one. Do not share anything and everything. If a password is being asked, please be very careful. No sharing a password. Right? This is one aspect. Please remember, and make your password as complex as possible, so that you remember. Don't forget your password. So you remember, but do not. Password is like a toothbrush. It's not to be shared with anyone, right? So similarly, password is not to be shared with anyone. The reason I'm telling this to you is because in the session that I conducted in West Delhi, Mr. Rawat was there, right? There were many persons, from the handicrafts domain, who do these exports through online transaction on regular basis, and there were lots and lots of questions as to how do I do the transaction safely. I'm sure many of you do that. My request to you is please be safe rather than sorry later, right? So, these are all banking related. PNB saw a huge data breach. These will keep on happening. It's not going to stop. Large organizations are going to face, it's as I call it again and again, it's a chore police game. We always need to be ahead of the chore, but at the end of the day, please remember, hackers are more smarter than us. Please remember that. How much ever you try to do, at the end of the day, they are more smarter. They are here to break. They are here to break your passwords. Multiple ways. How many of you know social engineering? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I see this one show called Mr. Robot. So he goes.
Can
to
others
the-
hear? Yeah.
You can use the mic. Please stop it. On the-
There's a button on the side.
So this guy is a black hat hacker, and he goes to people, talks to people. He asks them about simple things, like if there's a 50-year-old man, he'll ask where he lives, he'll ask about his dog, he'll ask about where he works, and then he'll do some permutation combinations and use, for example, his dog's name and his wife's name and crack the passwords.
Did you get it? He used informal channels to gather information about him and then did multiple combinations to find out what his password is. How many of you use virtual keyboard while logging into your computers, to your banking accounts? Please do. Right? It's difficult, it's not easy, but please do, because there is a sense of security in it as well. Because when you're clicking on virtual, the data does not flow through a clear text format. Forget the terminology behind it, but please use virtual keyboards rather than using your own keyboards. If you're logging in from your mobile phone, then it's okay, because then you do not have the virtual keyboards. But if you're using it from your laptop, my strong recommendation is please use virtual keyboards, right? Many a times we do not enable OTP because unnecessarily cumbersome. But now banks have mandated it that when you're logging in, you have to use OTP. State Bank of India has it that you, as long as you cannot get into the account without logging into OTP. Some banks ask you for OTP when you're getting into detailing, right? You can possibly, just for an example, I know I'm getting recorded, so and it becomes difficult for me to specify brands. But as such, there are many banks who allow you to log in, but the moment you do a transaction, they'll ask for OTP. So don't hesitate from OTPs, they are meant for your own safety, right? Now if somebody wants to, if you have to share your password with your near and dear ones, how do you do? You have to share because at that time the transaction has to be done. What do you do?
On mail.
On mail. Okay.
Generally WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Any other?
Over phone call.
Yeah, phone call. So never on mail. Preferably not on any written text anywhere. It is always suggested, tell her that him or her that my password is 8 digits, whatever. Tell the first 4 over phone. Disconnect the phone, preferably from a different network. Do the balance 4. You should not share your password. Should not share. This is an exigency condition that possibly a hospital needs some money to be remitted, right? So this is that emergency situation, one in a millionth opportunity that you need to share your password. Use this mechanism. Share half the password in one transaction, which is possibly a phone, and share the other half password through a landline or through a different network. Alright, please be careful, because all sharing in one mode could actually result in a very difficult situation.
What about WhatsApp?
Preferably not. So because nowadays what is happening is your phone could be cloned. You will not know. And then the messages could, for that moment, could get redirected there. Could get. I know WhatsApp is encrypted point to point, right? You all know that. But you do not know where the compromise is. Your phone compromised. If your phone is compromised, your number, that part of it could get compromised, right? So it is better to use 2 different carriers. I am having Airtel, I am having Vodafone, I am having a Jio. You use one carrier for half the password, you use other carrier for other half password. But again, I repeat for the nth time, please try not to share your password. This is only for that exigency, once in a lifetime situation.
और यदि फोन क्लोन हो जाएगा तो फोन बैंकिंग करते हो तो वो सब कुछ वैसे ही मिल जाएगा.
Absolutely.
So how to avoid that?
Very good. The day I was conducting this session on in EPCH in West, Rajesh ji, I was doing at 11:30, 12 in the afternoon. I came back to my office around 5 o'clock. I was back in my office, and my wife's Mosi, who lives through 3 quarters away, she called me that please tell me something about fraud, because 8 lakh rupees has been stolen from her account. She's a pensioner. She's a professor and a retired professor pensioner, 75-year-old. Why? Because she clicked on a wrong link. Because she clicked on a wrong link, her mobile got compromised. And the mobile got compromised, then eventually all the apps here got compromised, because the OTPs was also landing up into that hacker's phone. So he logged in as in the bank account, and immediately, the OTPs were also landing there. He found out 8 lakh rupees, believe me. Now 8 lakh rupees is big money for me, for her, for a retired pensioner and a senior citizen. When I went back and I did some technical analysis, then I realized when she had clicked there, a file was downloaded into her mobile phone, which kept on feeding data outside. So it is best. So this type of attack is called a phishing attack. PHI, phishing attack, right?
Cloning is possible when you click the link.
Yes.
Otherwise not possible.
Otherwise not possible, but you do not know if you already have it. So there are. It is better to clean up your mobile phone, or have an antivirus there if you're using Android. Which platform are you using?
I'm using iPhone.
While I should not be saying this, it's relatively safe. But ये नहीं कि iPhone में नहीं होता है. Of course, I also have an iPhone. iPhone में भी होता है. So it is best to use appropriate software. And also when you're downloading apps, please go to authorized app store. There are multiple app stores, right? Authorized app store to download, and those are the ones that is there. But you have to be continuously on the go. You have to be, but
generally that is only the way. When you click some link, then only the phone can be closed.
Ideally,
like that, if somebody just asks कि भाई मेरे को phone देना जरा 1 minute, मुझे phone करना है, somebody
वो उससे भी हो सकता है. Yes, उससे भी हो सकता है. Because when you so there are multiple ways. You give me your phone, I'll connect to my Wi-Fi, I'll take everything. But to connect to the Wi-Fi, I'll need your facial thing, right? Or on your iPhone, or possibly on your Android phones as well. So as long as you're authenticating that it is me and me, then your phone can be compromised. And so you're giving other way around. You're opening the phone and giving someone else to make the phone call, right? So that also you're authenticating.
Is there to call, dial the number and then give the phone?
Yeah, don't dial anywhere.
Guest mode.
Sorry?
You can use guest mode.
You can use guest mode, which is very smart way. This is, yeah, go ahead.
Guest mode is when you go up the, up here where all these icons are, somewhere here, like this small icon right here. If you click on that, you'll see two or three profiles. Then one of them is guest mode, another is your profile which you are using. You can click on guest mode, then give your phone to the other person, so he won't be able to access your information.
So I know this leads to a lot of unsocial. If somebody wants to make a phone call, and it's very difficult to say no to the person, right? So, but all this one is only being safe than sorry, right? And I like the bright young guys. The young guys.
They are more knowledgeable than us.
Of course, they are more knowledgeable than us, undoubtedly. And you must also remember that what is more important is actually they're aware of it, right? That this is where the problem is. That is where the beauty of the thing is. That unless one is aware, one will not be able to take appropriate action there. This is another, which is a keylogger, right? When you have a keylogger, I can capture whatever you're keying in on your laptop, a keyboard. So how many times when we are getting into an airport and using an account from one of the machines in the airport, how many times we do it, how many times we don't. Just preferably use your own machines, right? Preferably do not use banking, do not do banking transactions or secure transactions from free Wi-Fi zones. Right? So airports give you, railway stations give you, many places. You can browse, but do not use for your banking transactions as much as possible. I keep on saying this as much as possible because nothing is, just one sec, nothing is 100% true. We are in situations where we have to deviate. So that's the reason I keep on saying this as much as possible. Yes.
So how do you bypass keyloggers? Because I use computers in the university, in and around my friend's house or many other places. So do you have to check every time behind the CPU interface to see if
you should absolutely. If you're using it for secure transactions,
okay,
then it is best to check it.
Okay.
But if you're browsing, normal browsing, going to ndtv.com or whatever, then why worry? But if you're using your Google account to log into Chrome and then browse, that means you're revealing your password. So just be careful there. How many of you have heard of cyber attacks on the critical sector? So this is just for awareness. I mean, it's not only in your house or mine that cyber attacks are happening. They're happening in nuclear power plants. They're happening in, this is a unique case. This Florida city water supply. All of these, these water supplies also have technology instruments, right? Instrumentation products. They use a particular product in a particular quantity to soften the water, reduce the hardness of water. Somebody was able to tamper on that and make much more amount of that flow into the water, which actually made the water poisonous. All right. So in a way, there are all these attacks that are happening. There are many other ransomware attacks happening. Today we have so many devices connected at home, right? You have your fridge, you have a microwave, you have geysers, you have lights. Everything is connected to your Wi-Fi. So some of these, you must be ready with some of these attacks, if at all, if you were to be attacked on there. And the worst part is even medical instruments, let's say insulin pumps or something of that kind. These are also amenable to attacks because these are also technology instruments. Smart cards. Who are the persons who are attacked? It's me, it's people like you, organizations, nations, and international cyber terrorism. All right? Everybody is susceptible to an attack, and everybody must be careful in terms of what they are doing with their technology, how they are protecting it. And why is there an increase? We all know, because there is a sharp increase in digitization in every aspect of life. There's lack of awareness. This session that this organization is organized is actually meant to raise awareness. And it is not only for yourselves. Please go and tell to your respective families. Because everybody carries a hand phone, right? Everybody carries a hand phone. Please ask them not to click. Please go back home and tell them as much as possible. Easy accessibility of tools. Hacker for a price. You can hire a hacker for money. Ransomware for foreign exchange, and of course geopolitical situation. We all know our enemies use hacking as a tool to attack us. Right? So in a way, what you see on the internet is actually surface web, which is Yahoo, Google, etc. So there is deep web and there is dark web. Dark web, all kinds of illegal activities happen. All kinds of illegal activities. Don't try to log into dark web, because people in the dark web will start trying to spot why are you here. So there's no point getting into a gang's den, right? But you must know what it is. That's what it is. Importance of cyber safety. 96% of cyber breaches are attributable to human behavioral lapses. I am again and again repeating this. Please be careful. Internet allows an attacker to work from anywhere, which is another reason why. Digital innovation has drastically increased the attack surface. Attack surface means how many ways I can attack you. I can attack you through your phone, I can attack you through your car, I can go outside standing here in front of your house. You have not given me Wi-Fi access. I do social engineering, get access to your Wi-Fi, I can do anything with you. You will not even know because I'm standing outside your house, not inside your house. Right? And get attacked there and risk caused by poor knowledge of identity theft. Identity means who am I? Right? That's identity. Monetary theft. You have legal ramifications and of course sanctions for others. Let me play a small video.
This is the information. Advanced technology, digital country. Wow. Sounds good? Cashless country, careless citizens. बैंक लोन एप्लीकेशन पॉइंट 2. बैंक आपसे कॉल करके अकाउंट डिटेल्स नहीं पूछ सकता. अगर किसी ने लोन देने के लिए आपको कॉल किया तो आप अपना अकाउंट नंबर, एटीएम पिन, यहाँ तक कि ओटीपी, आधार कार्ड सब उसको खुशी खुशी सौंप देते हैं. जब भी कोई एप्लीकेशन या सॉफ्टवेयर डाउनलोड या इंस्टॉल करते हैं तो आप हर एग्री पर टिक करते जाते हैं. आपका फोन तो स्मार्ट है पर आप स्टूपिड बन जाते हैं. हर मोबाइल में कैमरा है, आपको यही लगता है, पर हैकर्स के लिए तीसरी आंख बन जाती है. बिना आपको पता लगे आपकी प्राइवेट लाइफ हैकर्स के लिए डेटा बन जाती है. बिग बॉस के शो की तरह है. न बच सकते हैं न छुप सकते हैं. आपका गूगल सर्च हिस्ट्री आपके सबकॉन्शियस माइंड की तरह है. आप बड़े होशियारी से उसे डिलीट कर देते हैं. आप निश्चिंत हो जाते हैं और उनके यहाँ स्टोर हो जाता है. एक बात माननी होगी, दुनिया में कोई परफेक्ट नहीं है. वोट देते समय आत्मा की आवाज सुने. कोई फ्री ऑफर दे तो दिमाग का इस्तेमाल करें. जय हिंद.
So I repeat this from the evolution of mankind, from apes to human. So we have moved from apes to apps. Apps are all around. Phishing attacks, fake app. Be very careful when you are downloading an app. It should be from the app store. Online scams, social engineering. I've spoken about this. Primary attacks. Attack vectors are malware, social engineering, and credential compromise. Credential compromise means your username, passwords, and that kind of credential compromise. The octopus tentacles are all here. You have social engineering, public Wi-Fi, internet browsing, personal devices, various kinds of things. And there's a new one which is juice jacking nowadays, right? You know what is juice jacking? Juice jacking is you connect your mobile phone for a little more charge. But this is your data port as well, right? So be careful when you are charging your mobile phone in a public place. You do not know where your data is going. Because it's the same port that you use for your data transfer as well. The power and data is from the same port. Right? Be very careful there.
Excuse me. Can we do something to prevent this? Like that juice jacking?
You carry your own charger?
No. Charger.
Technologically, there are many things that will evolve. At this stage, no. But the point at this stage is carry your own battery pack. I mean, that's the easiest solution I can give to everyone. Right? We have to be practical in many ways of our lives. While we'll possibly come out with something which will prevent juice jacking, but at the end of the day, I carry my own battery pack. Right? In spite of having the best of security resources in my team, but I still carry my own battery pack. Don't share anything with anyone, your username, company name, contact, unless you really need it. Whenever your KYC photograph, your document is asked for, How many of you this is done to for the handed over the document. This is done for KYC of HDFC Bank account number. Date, time. Time, date and signature. That's what is important. Right? So that your information is as much secure as possible. Bad actors are everywhere, you know, passwords, deleted files, you know, you just heard the video, all of these. And what happens in the internet in 60 seconds, you know, 29 million messages on WhatsApp per minute, this is Twitter, Instagram, all of us are busy showing where we are, what we are doing on Facebook, right? It's nothing wrong in doing that. But you know, instead of presenting real-time view, you can always do it 2 days later. Nothing is stopped. I prefer it that way. You've gone for a vacation. There's no need to mention it on Facebook immediately because people know that your house is locked. Come back home and share with people. There's nothing wrong in it. These are various types of zero-day attacks, malware attacks. What is a malware? Youngsters are not allowed. Malware is a software code.
Yeah, so you will get different types of advertisements, and they'll ask you click on these advertisements, they'll take you to some sketchy websites, and then if you pay for the product or the service, then they will hack your data.
Correct. So malware is an example of a malware. The malware is a software program that goes into your laptop or your mobile phone, which actually compromises your phone. Right? It's a malintent, a mal software. So that's a
payload, right?
It's working as a payload. Correct. So there are various ways of doing this. Spear phishing, execute first stage, and I will not get into these details. I know I'm already delayed. So how bad actors, this is what happens. When I click somewhere, it all gets spread. Need of the hour, cybersecurity awareness to all employees, and here it comes. For organizations that you run, many of you run organizations, make sure you have policy, framework, governance. Sorry, you have USB ports which are blocked, data leakage, data security, crown jewels are taken care of. And security is not a project, it's a continuous journey. As long as digitization is there, as long as technology is there, security you have to be careful. And in case some of you run organizations, these are the various domains that you need to cover as far as security is concerned. So 95% of the, as we heard, 96% of the breaches can be attributed to human error. It's the people. And never do banking. From public domains. Use long, strong passwords. Two-factor authentication means password OTP. Password, facial recognition. Two-factor authentication. Preferably use sites which has HTTPS. And disable USBs as many as possible. Also, make sure that you maintain strong cyber hygiene at your homes. At the end of the day, for yourself to be secure or for security to be effective in your organization, it's you and I. Nobody can help you if you are not securing yourselves, and it's I who gets secured. So please be cautious there. I did not want to scare you. My objective of this session was essentially to raise awareness about cybersecurity. It is not to say stop using technology. I'm not even suggesting that. I'm a proponent of technology. But please be cautious when you're using technology. Thank you very much for your time.
We have received an SMS. We have received an SMS. How do I recognize that it is from your original source or from a fake source?
See, what kind of SMS have you received, for example?
Any SMS. Sometimes I am receiving that this SMS from my SBI account. I am maintaining so many accounts in the SBI. So I am unable to recognize. I have sent this message to the authorized person of the SBI. They told me that it is a fake. So I am being a person unable to recognize whether it is a fake. So is there any mechanism that...
No, there is no foolproof mechanism, but I'll tell you, this is what happened to me day before.
Yeah.
So I received a message from one of my bank accounts, that your KYC is not there. So I took a snapshot of it, sent to my relationship manager. Say, why is this asking me? Because I just gave you a KYC for a different policy 2 days, 1 month back. Is this secure or is this insecure? He came back and told me, look, this is secure, but take action accordingly. So it's better to check. Another thing that I want to tell you is, very recently there were messages that, so no one asks you for anything urgently. Immediately it khatam ho raha hai. Urgency is your biggest enemy. So whenever it says आपका electricity बंद हो रहा है, आपका your PAN is आपका account बंद हो जाएगा, आपका पैसा चला जाएगा, urgency is the problem. And remember, no bank account is going to close up next morning. No, we are not banana country, right? We have very strong regulators. So we are we have strong regulations all around. Please be cautious and safe. Urgency is your biggest enemy.
Urgency is the indication basically.
Correct.
But is there any mechanism that it allows us to recognize whether it is from correct source or not?
If you go to the internet, each bank has told you.
Yes.
Each bank has told you that you will only receive messages from this message tag. So you have to go to every message. If you have 3 bank accounts, you have to go and then figure out whether it's correct or wrong. So what I generally do is, I don't respond to urgencies. My bank account is, I know that nothing is going to happen in the next 1 hour.
Yeah, that is understandable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. In case of a breach, if I get to know that my network has been breached or my credentials have been compromised, what is the first step that I should take? And
Yeah,
how should I go now?
This is what we did recently, so I can exactly tell you. The moment I went home to my wife's Mosi, first thing we did was call the customer care. One of the mistakes she had done was, she wanted to reach to the bank's customer care. She clicked on Google, I won't name the bank customer care. The first number that appeared, she called that number. Unfortunately, that number was a breach number. They said, this is all possible. They engaged her, she clicked, and that's how the breach happened. So be careful in the account. Typically a bank customer care number will be an easy number, 1-800 some number, or some 9999 some number, something of that kind. So call your bank, freeze your accounts. If it's a bank, right? Freeze your accounts. It's always debit freeze. You can give me as much money, but I'll not allow you to take money from my accounts. It's always debit freeze, right? That's one. Secondly, lodge a complaint, formal complaint with your bank, and then take it forward from there. Lodge a complaint with the ombudsperson of the bank, right? This is as far as bank is concerned. Call 1930. If it's in 1 hour to 2 hours, some money can be recovered.
That's a cyber helpline number.
That's right, 1930. Then go to the cyber portal, cybercrime.gov.in. There is a portal for that. Register an FIR there, and then progress it further. But 1930 is you have to do it within 1 hour. If you can do that, 1 hour of breach, not 1 hour of you coming to know. You could come to know 2 days later, then it's all over. If it's within 1 hour, some money can be recovered, because it does take some time to move money from account to account, right? But it is always encouraged for banks to have anti-fraud systems in place. Most banks in India don't have it. If you look at the trend pattern in which the money was siphoned out, it was done batches of 25,000. So if there are 25,000 in 8 lakhs divided by 25,000, so much money has flown out in a span of half an hour. So banks should have easily realized that if they had an anti-fraud system in place, that this is not a normal transaction. They should have easily caught it. But unfortunately, our banks don't have. Many banks don't have anti-fraud systems. Sorry, any other question?
Zero-day attack.
What is a zero-day attack? Zero-day attack is the attack for which there is no vaccine available. I mean, in the real sense of the word, right? For which there is no patch available. In the cyber term, we call it patch. It's like a viral infection. It's like a viral for which vaccination is not available. It's called a zero-day attack. Abhi release hua hai. That kind of. That's why it's called zero-day.
आपको पता कैसे लगा था जीरो डे अटैक के बारे में?
the attackers will always find, no? So you have to find a solution to the problem. Vaccine निकालने में time लगता है.
नहीं, मैं पूछ रहा हूँ ये वायरस के बारे में कैसे पता लगा?
Okay, there are multiple zero day attacks. A regular one, ना? हमें it's not about one attack which is zero day attack. Zero day attack is the attacks for which there is no patch available is called a zero day attack. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Thank you so much. They're always smarter than us, the hackers. Thank you so much for a very fruitful discussion here. It was a kind of discussion. We had such interesting question answers also. I request you to kindly please come here. We'd like to present a memento to you on behalf of APCH. I request Maheshwari ji to kindly do the honors, present a memento. And now we straight away have the next presentation, Open Network for Digital Commerce. It's on this. Yes, a memento. On innovative packaging.
Yes, sir.
So this is a memento for Sinha.
One more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
So let me introduce Mr. Ashish Malik. He's the Home and Kitchen Domain Lead of ONDC. ONDC is the Open Network for Digital Commerce. It's an initiative of Ministry of Commerce to democratize e-commerce in India. After this, we'll be having a seminar on innovative packaging.
I think. Can you all hear me? Am I loud enough? Okay. So after the interesting session on cybersecurity, we are moving straight to an area which has some application for that, which is online commerce. My name is Ashish. Thank you for this opportunity to present Open Network for Digital Commerce, or ONDC as we call it, to you all. So ONDC has been set up by the Ministry of Commerce to basically step change, democratize and increase the penetration of e-commerce in India. If we look at e-commerce, and I'm sure all of you have transacted online, bought something either on Amazon, Flipkart, any of the other platforms, ordered food, grocery, clothes. So you've done some sort of transaction, I'm sure, in the last 1 year, right? But you'll be surprised that still the penetration of e-commerce is very, very small. When we talk about retail, it's about 1% of the total retail transactions in India. And if we talk about the contribution of e-commerce to the Indian economy, it's in single digit percentage. So officially it was around 4.5% 2 years back. It's around 6 or 7% now, but still very, very small in terms of the contribution. So that's where ONDC comes in, and that's where our initiative and our goal is to see how can we step change and how can we take this to smaller players, how can we spread it around to make it accessible to even the tier 2, tier 3 small kirana shops, and make it accessible easily to buyers and sellers. So when we talk about e-commerce, these are some of the common words which are thrown around, and this is a common measure which is used. Your gross merchandise value, GMV, your coverage of retailers, your share of the Indians who are using e-commerce, and the geographic coverage of e-commerce. So these are still, as we mentioned, very, very limited. And the idea of ONDC is to look at all these parameters and how to step change and increase the penetration, increase the audience base which can access e-commerce in terms of buyers as well as sellers. So why does a seller want to do e-commerce? Why do you want to sell online? What advantage you have? Why would you want to do that? Everybody is selling through their stores right now. What is the game changer when you go online? The biggest thing is scale. Why would anybody want to sell online? Is to get higher amount of scale, right? Now today, if you are a seller who is selling, say, home and kitchen products, home decor products, right? You have very limited options where you can sell online. You have 1 or 2 large players who are there, who have a large chunk of the e-commerce market right now. Similarly, if you are a restaurant owner, you have 1 or 2 large platforms where you can go and sell. if you are a person who's selling fashion, furnishings, fabric, you have limited options because either you go to a large marketplace or you may go to niche players who are operating in that domain where you can go and sell, right? But it's still just 2-3 players who control that market. Now, when you go to any of these platforms to sell, the thing that you need to follow is their sets of rules and conditions, right? You can't decide on the terms and conditions. They will give you terms and conditions which you end up following. So if you are selling, say on Amazon, you need to follow their terms and conditions. You cannot come up with your terms and conditions alone. The other thing that why you want to sell online is discoverability, so that you are easily found. Somebody does a search on you, you are found quite easily. Now, where ONDC comes in, and the two principles that ONDC is following is unbundling and interoperability. Now, these principles exist today as well. Some of it may not be in e-commerce right now, but we are not new to these. If I talk about unbundling, right? Today, if you look at a car manufacturer is making a car. It's selling you the final car, but it's not making every component of it. The tires are being made by a tire manufacturer. Your steering wheel comes from another OEM. Your springs and shock absorbers come from another OEM. Now, why does it do that? Because each of these players specializes in the products that they are making. A tire manufacturer has the speciality and the knowledge as well as access to resources and can make it more efficiently. Plus, they can make it at a more cost-effective way. A Maruti Udyog will not go and start manufacturing tires, though it is an essential component in its car which it sells to you. So it's an unbundled way that the manufacturing is happening, right? If you look at even BPOs which have come up in India over the last few years, why is a business process getting outsourced? Even organizations in India today outsource your payroll, outsource certain other purchase functions at times. They do that because they are leveraging on the strengths of a particular entity who specializes in doing that activity. Right? You are not trying to do everything yourself. The other principle is of interoperability. That's something that we see even today. Common example is email. When we try and send an email, we are not bothered about whether you are using Gmail or Yahoo. We are able to send that because there is a common underlying protocol which is called the SMTP protocol, the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It's a common language. It allows people to be on different applications like Yahoo, Google, Gmail, Outlook, and still communicate with each other. So these are the two principles which exist but not in e-commerce today, and which is what ONDC is trying to bring. So this is an example on the left side, if you can see, of how email works. Irrespective of whichever client you are on or whichever application you are on, you are able to send a message to someone else. The same way, what ONDC is planning to do is that it's allowing buyers to come from multiple applications as well as sellers to be present on multiple applications, but still have a common language through which they can communicate and interact and trade with each other. If I look at how the current e-commerce industry is organized, these are, you can say, independent platforms, right? A current platform like one of the large e-commerce platforms, they are looking at the buyer side activities. So that means a buyer can come and search for products. You build your own cart, as well as you have the payment gateway, so you make the payment and you complete your transaction. Now, if you look at the second activity they do, which is the seller, right? They are bringing sellers onto the network. So they are creating a catalog. So there's catalog management. They are giving you the option to complete the order. So there's order fulfillment, and then there is the delivery as well, right? So there's logistics which happens, and if there is any return or cancellation, that is happening. But you are not able to, suppose I am on Amazon and I am going to Amazon today and I am looking for a product, I cannot look for sellers who are on Flipkart because it's a completely closed platform. Each of them are complete closed platforms which operate within their own platform. There is no way for them to interact with each other. What ONDC has done is, it has broken up these three activities and it is allowing each market participant to focus on the one where they specialize, and they can either bring buyers or they can bring sellers, or if they are a logistics company, then they can manage the logistics. It is an unbundled way of doing the same transaction. The whole transaction is the same from the buyer till the fulfillment, but it is allowing companies to focus on individual aspects of the transaction. I know there is a little paucity of time, so I'm trying to rush through things, but anytime you have any questions, feel free to stop me. So which is what I was talking about, that here you have three different activities: the buyer activity, the seller activity, and the logistics activity. And ONDC is giving them the common language in which they can sort of interact with each other. So let me walk you through an example. If I am a buyer, I am coming through a buyer application, say for example like a Paytm, I go through the network and I am able to see sellers which are coming from different applications, and then logistics can be provided by people who are focusing on the logistics services. I've just used some of the participants who are already on the network as examples. So I, as a buyer, can come through Craftsvilla, Paytm, My Store. We have 6 applications which are live already. These are the seller applications. So these applications are bringing sellers from their universe, which is UShop, which is from Unilever, Seller App, Growth Falcons, UEngage, and there are a whole host of names which I will not go through. Today the network has got 21,000 seller applications. 25,000 sellers are already onboarded, and there are 23 lakh plus SKUs or individual products which are already on the network. We also have a strong buyer base of about 50 million active participants and customers who are there on each of these buyer applications. There is also a pretty huge pipeline which can be seen in a whole host of players you can see over here. So on the seller side, these are the current ones which are live. These are ones which are in the center one. Yeah. So this section is the one which is already in advanced stage of integration with us, which has people from seller side, organizations from the buyer side, as well as logistics applications. And then there are few more, 300 plus more, which are in initiating their benefits. Okay. These are some of the verticals which we began with: electronics, fashion, agriculture, mobility, home kitchen. For sellers, why would a seller want to be on our network? The access that they get, which is buyers coming from multiple platforms, is huge. So your customer acquisition cost gets reduced to negligible. You are able to basically have a single sign-on, so you connect with the network and you're visible across all buyer applications. You do not need to go and sign on to or register with one platform or a second platform and a third platform. For example, today if you want to sell on Amazon, you need to be registered with them. If you want to sell on Paytm or you want to sell on Flipkart, you need to register with them separately. So that whole process is done away with. It's a single connection that you have, and you're visible across all the buyer network. Your autonomy in terms of the terms of trade that you have. You can decide on who you want to sell to, what will be your return period, what will be your cancellation terms. Those are all in your control. The analytics that you get, the data that you have of your customers is accessible to you for the first time. It's a huge win, because right now all these platforms control the data. They will never share data about and analytics about buyer behavior, and in terms of the consumer analytics, who's buying from where, at what point. All of that data is accessible to you as a seller. Today, if you're selling on one platform, over a period of time, you invest and you build your reputation. You get a score, a rating which is there. The moment you go to a second network or a second platform, say from Amazon to Flipkart, you have to build your entire reputation again. So from scratch, you need to invest into that, right? ONDC allows you interoperability where your rating ledger and your reviews are visible across all buyer networks. You don't need to have them built from scratch on each platform. As well as if you switch to another, you come through another buyer platform, your network, you can say your score as well as your rating does not need to be starting from scratch. You port that, just like you port your mobile number today. So there are a whole host of advantages. As I was mentioning, it is backed by the Ministry of Commerce, and it's an initiative which has been started. We are pretty much done. I know this is our presence today, 185 plus cities, 25,000 plus sellers. So the scale, and though we have basically just gone live in September and as a beta launch, it has scaled up pretty fast. So it has it just shows that what is the possibility and how this network is going to grow. So people who are interested in joining the network, all you have to do is send us a mail at team@ondc.org and we will help you through the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malik. It's a very good initiative of Ministry of Commerce, and you already have almost 23 packaging. Well, packaging innovations for handicraft products have to be both functional and visually appealing, while also conveying important information about the product. So what are the different factors one has to keep in mind enumerating on this is our guest speaker, Mr. Sumit Maheshwari. Welcome, sir. A brief introduction about him. As the General Manager of Packaging Bio-Friendly Packs Private Limited, Mr. Sumit is developing sustainable packaging for many export houses, and that's his specialty. His scope of work expands to the cost effectiveness, various kinds of labeling and barcoding development, compliance, implementation and auditing knowledge. Yeah. You may start your talk now. Thank you.
To give me this such opportunity. Myself, Sumit Maheshwari. I am native from Rajasthan and working in field of export and printing and packaging from last more than 15 years. Today, I hope to share my humble knowledge in this seminar for packaging awareness and handicraft product awareness. This is our first point, principle of packaging. Let's first start with the basic part, principles in packaging. I will tell you the basic. उनसे आप सभी को जनरल आइडिया मिल जाएगा कि किस तरह के पैकेजिंग के प्रिंसिपल्स होते हैं और किस तरह से हम पैकेजिंग को इनोवेटिव करके हमारे बिजनेस को और ग्रो कर सकते हैं, डेवलप कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. कुलसन जी. प्रिंसिपल ऑफ पैकेजिंग में फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल्स आता है पैकेजिंग डिजाइन इज दिस इज द फेस ऑफ द ब्रांड. पैकेजिंग कुछ भी हम डिजाइन करते हैं वो पैकेजिंग डिजाइन ही नहीं होता है, हमारे ब्रांड का फेस होता है. तो सबसे पहले कस्टमर हमारा बायर उसको देखता है और एक इमेज बनाता है कि इसकी पैकेजिंग या इसका व्यू ऐसा है तो होप्स हो कि अंदर का ब्रांड कैसा होगा और कितना मोर इफेक्टिव मेरे लिए होगा. ठीक है. तो पैकेजिंग नाम एक पैकेजिंग है कि वो छोटा सा है, हमारे पार्ट का, हमारे पूरे सिस्टम का बहुत माइनर सा पार्ट है. कॉस्ट ऑफ में भी हम सपोज 1% 2% भी नहीं काउंट करते हैं उसका, लेकिन वो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट होता है. सेकंड प्रिंसिपल होता है पैकेजिंग का डिजाइन शुड बी कंज्यूमर फ्रेंडली एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी एंड इको फ्रेंडली. ठीक है. कस्टमर की एक्सपेक्ट होती है क्योंकि हम बेसिकली जो हमारा डोमेन है वो एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड डोमेन है. ठीक है. तो जितना हम सस्टेनेबिलिटी की तरफ जाएंगे, इको फ्रेंडली जाएंगे, हमारा प्रोडक्ट कस्टमर को उतना इफेक्टिवनेस देगा. क्योंकि पैकेजिंग की डिजाइन कोई सी भी हो, कंज्यूमर मार्केट में मिनिमम प्रॉब्लम्स होती है कंज्यूमर को किसी भी सिनेरियो में कि किस तरह के मूवमेंट है, किस तरह से देखना चाहिए. सस्टेनेबिलिटी मटेरियल है यूज करना, कस्टमर का प्रेफरेंस होता है. सस्टेनेबिलिटी मटेरियल बायर का भी प्रेफरेंस होता है कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी है. कस्टमर हमारे से मांगते हैं कि सेडेक्स सर्टिफाइड हो, FSC सर्टिफाइड हो. तो हम जो इंश्योर करें कि हमारा पैकेजिंग लेवल जो भी जा रहा है वो FSC सर्टिफाइड हो, अगर बायर का रिक्वायरमेंट है तो। तीसरा प्रिंसिपल होता है पैकेजिंग का क्रिएटिव और इनोवेटिव पैकेजिंग। हम इस तरह की पैकेजिंग डेवलप करें, कस्टमर की डिमांड नहीं है फिर भी हम कर सकते हैं इस तरह का कि पैकेजिंग सिंपल हो लेकिन कस्टमर उसको सेकंड यूज थर्ड यूज कहीं कहीं कर सकता हो। क्योंकि कस्टमर का प्रेफरेंस रहेगा उसमें कि सपोज अगर वो पैकेजिंग यूज करता है तो पैकेजिंग रीयूज में उसके आती है तो उसका अट्रैक्शन बना होता है कस्टमर का हमारे साथ। This is the fourth principle, packaging design should be multi-purpose use. Like आपकी कोई भी डिजाइन है, कोई ज्वेलरी है, कोई भी हैंडीक्राफ्ट आइटम जा रहा है, हम उसके बॉटम में जो बॉक्स होता है, बॉक्स के बॉटम में कुछ तरह का प्रिंट कर सकते हैं, लाइक ग्लूड हो गया, सांप सीढ़ी हो गया, हाउजीज के कूपन्स हो गए कि कस्टमर उसको रीयूज कर सके कहीं कहीं, उसको एक गेमिंग या उस तरह के रीयूज में लेता हूँ। पैकेजिंग का लास्ट फाइव प्रिंसिपल है वो अटेंशन है कस्टमर की प्रोडक्ट एंड पैकेजिंग मटेरियल के लिए, कि कस्टमर के हमारा जो प्रोडक्ट है, जो प्रोडक्ट हम यूज़ कर रहे हैं उस प्रोडक्ट को हमारे पैकेजिंग के साथ कैसे सिमिलर कर सकते हैं। लाइक हमारा पैकेजिंग ब्लू कलर में जा रहा है और हमारा जो प्रोडक्ट है वो वाइट है, तो वो थोड़ा सा डिफरेंशिएट हो गया। हम कोशिश करें प्रोडक्ट वाइट है तो हमारा जो पैकेजिंग है वो वाइट से सिमिलर जाए, उसमें कुछ हैंडीक्राफ्ट स्ट्रक्चर आए, लाइक मार्बल प्रिंटिंग्स आ जाए या कोई बर्ड्स या इस तरह का कोई इनोवेटिव प्रिंट्स आए जो हमारे पैकेजिंग के साथ सेलेक्ट करता हो, उसको सूट करता हो। हमारे एक्सपोर्ट में और जो हैंडीक्राफ्ट यूज़ करते हैं उसमें पैकेजिंग की इम्पोर्टेंस एक डिफरेंट तरह से भी हो सकती है। वो इसलिए कि सपोज आपका कोई पश्मीना सोल्स है या कोई आपका कारपेट है, कोई ज्वेलरी आइटम्स है, तो उसको थोड़ा सा एथेनिक लुक आप पैकेजिंग को भी दे सकते हैं। पैकेजिंग को एथेनिक लुक में मैंने इमेज में शेयर किया है छाप में, जैसे आपका फर्स्ट है पश्मीना है, इस तरह का है, तो इस पर जो प्रिंटिंग है वो लाइक आर्ट प्रिंटिंग की तरह है, जैसे हैंड इसके ड्रॉ किया हो बेसिकली। जैसे ये हैंड ड्रॉ नहीं है, बेसिकली है ऑफसेट प्रिंटिंग ही या वाटर बेस्ड प्रिंटिंग है, लेकिन इसका लुक एक यूनिक लुक में आ गया है। ठीक है। सेकेंडली जैसे वॉच प्रिंटिंग है, वॉच प्रिंटिंग में आप पूरा अगर कस्टमर और आप अफोर्ड करते हैं तो आप इसको सेम वुडन में भी दे सकते हैं, वुडन पैकेजिंग कर सकते हैं। वुडन पैकेजिंग नहीं करना चाहें तो उसको सेम कोरगेटेड में भी कर सकते हैं थीम के साथ। एंड लास्ट जो पिक है उसमें कारपेट है। कारपेट को आप काफ़ी तरह की पैकेजिंग में कर सकते हैं। कारपेट है जब हम पैकेजिंग करते हैं तो नॉर्मल एक स्क्वायर बॉक्स बनाते हैं, सीधा पैक कर देते हैं। उसकी जगह उसको पूरा खोलने वाला पैकिंग करते हैं, क्योंकि आजकल डाई कट में बहुत सारे बॉक्सेज आ गए हैं। आप ट्रायंगल कर सकते हैं उस शेप को, राउंड शेप कर सकते हैं। अफोर्डेबिलिटी में है तो बांस का, जूट का या इस तरह का कोई पैकेजिंग दे सकते हैं, तो उसको एक लुक भी एथेनिक देगा और उसके साथ उसकी पैकेजिंग एंड उसकी लाइफ भी बहुत अच्छी करेगा। कंज्यूमर को हम कैसे अपील कर सकते हैं पैकेजिंग के साथ, क्योंकि बेसिकली हमारा मेन मोटो होता है कि कंज्यूमर अट्रैक्ट हो और हमारा प्रोडक्ट सोर्स करे। ठीक है। तो प्रोडक्ट द पैकेजिंग ऑफ द योर प्रोडक्ट मस्ट आउट विद द कॉम्पिटिशन। हमारा जो कॉम्पिटिशन हो रहा है उसके साथ भी हम उसको फुलफिल कर सकें और कॉम्पिटिशन से अच्छा दे सकते हैं। द डिजाइन ऑफ योर पैकेजिंग मस्ट बी इन रिलेवेंस विद द मार्केट एंड कंज्यूमर नीड्स। कोई भी पैकेजिंग डिजाइन करते हुए हमें हमेशा माइंड में रखना चाहिए कि जो मार्केट नीड्स चल रही है, जो फ्यूचर नीड्स है, कस्टमर जो डिमांडिंग आ रहा है, उसके हिसाब से हमारी पैकेजिंग जा रही है या नहीं जा रही है। थर्ड है द पैकेजिंग शुड बी इंफॉर्मेटिव एंड रिलेटिव टू द प्रोडक्ट। जो प्रोडक्ट है उसके रिलेटिवली पैकेजिंग हो। द न्यू पी ऑफ मार्केटिंग। मार्केटिंग में न्यू पी का मतलब है कि हमारी पैकेजिंग है वो हमारी मार्केटिंग भी हो सकती है अगर हम उसको कुछ इनोवेटिव करते हैं तो। The packaging is important for marketing because it affects every other aspect in the marketing mix. Packaging is normally designed to present to your products in the most attractive way possible to generate appeal. ये हम लोग सब करते हुए आ रहे हैं बेसिकली, और काफ़ी पहले से सब करते हुए आ रहे हैं, हम भी वही कर रहे हैं। Communicate the price and value of the product. जो प्रोडक्ट की वैल्यू और उसकी प्राइस वगैरह सब दिखाती है। Promote your product by sharing information. जितनी इन्फॉर्मेशन हम प्रोडक्ट की मैक्स टू मैक्स पैकेजिंग पर बात दे सकते होंगे वो ज़्यादा विजुअल होगी और कस्टमर्स की तरफ ज़्यादा अट्रैक्ट होगा। लाइक कोई भी प्रोडक्ट है आपका फुली पैकेजिंग है, उसमें कोई विंडो नहीं है, कोई प्रोडक्ट दिख नहीं रहा है, तो कोशिश करें कि बेस्ट से बेस्ट फोटो की जो पिक्चर्स है उस पैकेजिंग के फ्रंट पे हो, साथ में उसकी डिटेल्स लाइक जूट से बना है, कॉटन से बना है, इको फ्रेंडली है, सस्टेनेबिलिटी है, चाइल्ड सेफ है, हजार्डियस नहीं है, वो सब डिटेल्स मैक्स टू मैक्स उसमें हम प्रिंट करें फ्रंट में। हम क्या करते हैं कि प्रिंटिंग हमारी जाती है, उसको छोटी सी डिटेल होती है, साइड में एक लेबल लगाते हैं वो छोटा सा, और डेट्स इट। वो फ्रंट में दिखनी चाहिए जितनी ज़्यादा, क्योंकि जो दिखेगा वही दिखेगा, सामने सामने दिखना चाहिए बिल्कुल कस्टमर को। द नीड ऑफ पैकेजिंग टेस्टिंग, पैकेजिंग टेस्टिंग एक बहुत बड़ा पार्ट है, सब लोग आई थिंक करते हुए आ रहे होंगे, सबके अपने QC होती होगी, सब कुछ होता है, उसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ है जो बहुत छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हैं उनको माइनस कर देते हैं। तो अभी यहाँ पे पैकेजिंग टेस्टिंग की जरूरत क्यों है? While the packaging should be attractive and the informative getting the product, consumers have and take the main motive. Testing help to determine the quality, strength of the packaging, so that the product isn't rendered unless in transit. बहुत से टाइम हम देखते हैं कि हमारा शिपमेंट पहुंचा है, वहाँ डैमेज पहुंचा है, या शिपमेंट जब अनलोड हुआ है तो पैकेजिंग में ऑर्डर्स है, हल्की सी स्मेल आ रही है, कस्टमर रिजेक्ट कर दिया है। ये कॉमनली है, क्योंकि जब इंडिया से प्रोडक्ट जाता है 1 महीना 20 दिन जब वो शिप में रहता है, सॉल्टी वाटर के अंदर रहता है, और हमारे की जो पैकेजिंग होती है बेसिकली वो रिसाइकल पेपर होता है, उसमें वो 30% भी प्री पोस्ट ले लेते हैं, कई बार 20% प्री पोस्ट ले लेते हैं, कई बार मालूम चलता है कि 80% भी पोस्ट कंज्यूमर वेस्ट उसमें डाल दी पेपर वाले ने, उसका आइडिया हमें होता नहीं है। पर उसके रिजल्ट, मेन रिजल्ट जब बताते हैं कि जब 30 दिन 40 दिन बाद कस्टमर को प्रोडक्ट पहुँचता है तब वो हल्का सा फंगस होता है, हल्की सी स्मेल आ जाती है, तो इसलिए पैकेजिंग टेस्टिंग की बहुत बड़ी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है। पैकेजिंग टेस्टिंग में बहुत सारे मेथड होते हैं, कुछ इजी भी है और कुछ आप आपके सप्लायर से भी मांग सकते हैं। पहला कंबशन टेस्ट, सेकंड होता है मॉइस्चर टेस्ट। मॉइस्चर टेस्ट एक ऐसा टेस्ट है जो आप कहीं भी इजीली कोई भी अपने यहाँ पर कर सकता है। इनिशियली 2000 से 3000 तक की डिवाइस होती है मॉइस्चर की, और वो आपको सबको अपने यहाँ पे होनी चाहिए और हर प्रोडक्ट की आपको करनी चाहिए। बहुत बड़ा उसमें कोई खर्चा नहीं होता है, इतना कोई एक्सपेंस नहीं है, कोई भी नॉर्मल आपको क्वालिटी वाला कर सकता है। ये बहुत छोटी सी चीज़ है लेकिन पैकेजिंग में बहुत बड़ा काम करती है। थर्ड पॉइंट है वाइब्रेशन टेस्ट। वाइब्रेशन टेस्ट हम लोगों को करना चाहिए। इवन आप कुछ भी नहीं कर रहे हैं, आपका कोई भी बंदा ड्राइव कर रहा है, कुछ भी कर रहा है, तो आपकी पैकेजिंग के, आपके प्रोडक्ट के कुछ 10-20 बॉक्स आप उसकी गाड़ी में डालिए और बोलिए ड्राइवर को भाई तू 3 दिन 4 दिन चला इसको, 200 किलोमीटर 300 किलोमीटर, उसका बिहेवियर टेस्ट कीजिए आप कि वो ऑन ट्रांजिट किस तरह से आपकी पैकेजिंग को डैमेज कर रहा है, या कोई रब कर रहा है, कोई स्क्रैच आ रहे हैं। ड्रॉप टेस्ट, ड्रॉप टेस्ट नॉर्मली आपके सब पैकेजिंग वाले करते होंगे, वो सबसे इजी को माने और सब करते हैं। एज क्रस्ट टेस्ट, इसको नॉमिनल हम लोग नहीं करते हैं, जो सप्लायर हैं आपके वो करते होंगे, पर आप उनसे कभी भी एज क्रस्ट टेस्ट की रिपोर्ट नहीं मांगते होंगे। आपका पैकेजिंग चाहे वो आपका 4 इंच का मोनो कार्टन हो, चाहे आपका CFB हो, या आपका चाहे पूरा पैलेट हो, आप ड्रॉप टेस्ट और एज क्रस्ट टेस्ट इन दोनों की रिपोर्ट मांगिए। एज क्रस्ट टेस्ट आपने देखा होगा कि कंटेनर जब जाता है तो हम लोग उसकी स्टैकिंग करते हैं, 1 2 3 स्टैकिंग होती है। उस स्टैकिंग में कई बार जब हल्की सी भी कंटेनर में जगह बच जाती है कहीं भी साइड में स्टफिंग के दौरान, तब वो कोने से पिचक जाता है आपका बॉक्स, या आपका प्रोडक्ट हल्का सा साइड से डैमेज हो जाता है। इसका मेन इशू एज क्रस्ट टेस्ट है। एंड ट्रांसपोर्शन टेस्ट, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया ट्रांसपोर्शन टेस्ट आपके ये नहीं है कि इसका क्राइटेरिया है या कुछ भी है, आप लोग किसी भी आपके व्हीकल में डाल दीजिए, कोई भी आपका रनिंग व्हीकल जो लोकल मार्केट में जाता है कहीं भी, ड्राइवर को बोलिए कि ये बॉक्स हमने पैक कर दिया है, छोटा बॉक्स तो आप बड़े बॉक्स में पैक करके और रख दीजिए, 2 दिन 4 दिन उसके बिहेव को चेक कीजिए। तो आफ्टर 3-4 डेज बाद आप देखेंगे कि आपके प्रोडक्ट में कहीं पे लेबलिंग पे स्क्रैच है, कहीं पे क्या है, तो इन सब छोटी छोटी चीज़ों से आप आपकी जो शिपमेंट है उसको वहाँ पर रिजेक्ट होने से बचा सकते हैं। एंड लास्ट पॉइंट है इसमें सॉल्ट वाटर स्प्रे टेस्ट, एक बहुत छोटा सा टेस्ट है और इसको जहाँ तक मेरी नॉलेज में बहुत कम लोग कोई करते होंगे अपने इन हाउस में, और यही एक ऐसा टेस्ट है जिसकी वजह से हमारी ऑर्डर, स्मेल और फंगस वहाँ पे शिपमेंट्स में निकलती है। इसमें आपको करना कुछ भी नहीं होता है, सिंपल नॉर्मल वाटर, 1 लीटर वाटर में आप 20 ml सोल्ट डाल दीजिए और बॉक्स के स्प्रे कर दीजिए अंदर बाहर सब तरफ, और 24 to 36 आवर्स के लिए आप कहीं भी डार्क रूम में छोड़ दीजिए। आप देखिए उसमें एक्टिव फंगल बैक्टीरिया कोई निकल रहा है, कोई फंगस आ रही है, या ऑर्डर आ रही है तो उस पैकेजिंग को आप यूज़ मत कीजिए। बहुत छोटा सा टेस्ट है, पैकेजिंग ऑर्डर करने के पहले ही आप वहन जब हम स्टार्ट करते हैं पैकेजिंग ऑर्डर के लिए, तो हम सैंपल मांगते हैं ना, उस सैंपल में ही आप इस टेस्ट को कर लीजिए।
जनरली कहना वो कोई भी वो लकड़ी का हो चाहे किसी भी चीज़ की हो, नॉर्मल पेपर वाला हो, उसमें फंगस तो आ ही जाता है डार्क रूम में।
नहीं आएगा। अब डार्क रूम में, नॉर्मल रूम में रखेंगे आप 24 to 36 आवर्स तक, इतना नहीं आएगा। अगर उसमें फ्यूमिगेशन नहीं होगा, उसमें आपका पोस्ट कंज्यूमर वेस्ट 80% से कम होगा, उसने वर्जिन अच्छा लगाया होगा, पल्प की क्वालिटी ठीक रखी होगी पेपर में, तो नहीं आएगा। आप समझिए इंडिया से भी कम से कम नहीं तो यूएस में और अदर देन यूरोप में दिल्ली के कम से कम 10 कंटेनर्स पेपर बैग जा रहा है, फूड बैग, KFC, बर्गर, इनके लिए वो इसी पेपर से बन रहा है और इसी सोल्टी वाटर में जा रहा है, उसी पैकेजिंग में पैक होकर जा रहा है, और वहाँ पर वो लोग उसमें फूड पैकेजिंग यूज़ कर रहे हैं। नहीं आ रहा होगा तो नहीं, दिल्ली के कम से कम 8 से 10 कंटेनर्स जा रहे हैं। होता क्या है कि हम लोग पैकेजिंग का ऑर्डर देते हैं और पैकेजिंग हमारे लिए बहुत माइनर सा पार्ट होता है, बहुत छोटा सा है कि ठीक है कब देंगे, जब प्रोडक्ट पे हम ध्यान रखेंगे, प्रिंटिंग का, प्रोडक्ट बनने का, उसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का सब कुछ रखेंगे। पैकेजिंग का कि ठीक है लास्ट में आया, पैक किया, जो इनिशियल अपना टेस्ट किया और हमने रवाना कर दिया। लेकिन अगर आप उसको टेस्ट करेंगे तो उसमें फंगस, अगर प्रॉपर स्मेल फ्री, ऑर्डर फ्री है और पेपर पैकेजिंग वाले ने उसमें जो पेपर यूज़ किया है वो उसमें 30% से तक की अगर प्री कंज्यूमर वेस्ट है तो स्मेल नहीं आएगी। तो ये जो सोल्ट वाटर स्प्रे टेस्ट है ये इनिशियल आप कर सकते हैं, कोई भी कर सकता है। पैकेजिंग जो होती है हमारी प्रोडक्शन होती है फॉर द प्रोडक्ट के लिए, सेफ्टी जो प्रोडक्शन है वो है प्रोडक्ट के लिए, कंज्यूमर दोनों के लिए। प्रोडक्ट के लिए सेफ्टी कैसे है, जो मैंने आपको बताया कि एज कस्ट टेस्ट और आपने पैकेजिंग अच्छी करी है उसके लिए। कंज्यूमर के लिए सेफ्टी कैसे है पैकेजिंग में, आपने जो प्रिंट किया है या जो भी आपने कोई लेमिनेशन करवाया है, जो उसमें फॉइल वगैरह कुछ किया है, तो उसमें कोई हजारडस मटेरियल तो नहीं है। इंक है, वो इंक में पैकेट ज़्यादा तो नहीं है, या इंक ऐसी है कि उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा हजारडस मटेरियल है, चाइल्ड सेफ है या नहीं है, और लास्ट में पॉइंट आता है कि रिसाइकेबल है या नहीं है। तो कोशिश कीजिए अगर आपका बहुत ज़्यादा मल्टी कलर प्रिंटिंग नहीं है तो आप वाटर बेस्ड प्रिंटिंग पर जाएँ, जो इजी रिसाइकेबल है और सेफ्टी है उसमें। अट्रैक्टिवनेस पैकेजिंग के लिए होनी चाहिए, यूजेबिलिटी जो मैंने बताया कंज्यूमर के लिए, कि लाइक कोई भी आपने पैकेजिंग बनाई है वो पैकेजिंग रीयूज हो सके, आइदर 1 टाइम, 2 टाइम, 3 टाइम। पैकेजिंग ऐसी हो जो मोर देन टाइम्स यूज कर सकता हो। सस्टेनेबिलिटी, पैकेजिंग में सस्टेनेबिलिटी बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन है और हमारे बायर सब चाहते हैं कि हमारी जो पैकेजिंग है वो सस्टेनेबिलिटी की हो, और बायर की रिक्वायरमेंट है तो आप FSC पैकेजिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट है तो आप लीगली FSC पैकेजिंग सप्लायर से ही FSC पैकेजिंग है। बात होता है बारकोड है पैकेजिंग। Barcode packaging, they are utilized in retail shop as a part of the purchase process in warehouse of the track inventory, and our invoice help in accounting and manual. It gives better accuracy than manual enter data, inventory level on sales or immediately available in real time. Low cost implementation and generating barcode is quick and easy. हमारा बारकोड जो है वो बहुत लो कॉस्ट होता है और बहुत इजी हम कर सकते हैं उसको। यहाँ पर मैंने दिखा है वेरियस ऑफ टाइप्स ऑफ बारकोड यूज होते हैं जो हम पैकेजिंग में यूज करते हैं। फर्स्ट बारकोड होता है 128 में इनिशियल बारकोड में ए से लेके जेड तक और 1 से लेके 8 तक का हमारा बारकोडिंग होता है सिस्टम, जिसको यूएसए भी फॉलो करता है और यूजर्स को ऑप्टिमाइज करता है। एंड सेकेंड बारकोड होता है हमारा इंटरलीव 2 of 5, ये भी कॉमनली 128 के जैसा बारकोड है, जो डिपेंड करता है आपके बायर्स की डिमांड के ऊपर कि किस तरह का बारकोड वो यूज करता है। ठीक है। एंड नेक्स्ट होता है यूनिवर्सल प्रोडक्ट कोड UPC। ये बारकोड एक डिफरेंट होता है और बेसिकली ग्रोसरी स्टोर्स में ये बारकोड ज़्यादा यूज होता है। एंड नेक्स्ट आता है डेटा मैट्रिक्स बारकोड। डेटा मैट्रिक्स बारकोड को हम 2D बारकोड भी बोलते हैं हमारे बायर्स इनिशियल लेवल पे। This is become one of the most common 2D barcodes. It is the square shape and code of the can encoding the large and huge amount informations. इसका कई बार साइज होता है 10x10 होता है, 12x12 होता है, वो कस्टमर की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, उसके हम समय प्रिंट करना होता है। एंड लास्ट होता है हमारा QR कोड, क्विक रेस्पॉन्स कोड होता है। बेसिकली आजकल कस्टमर की डिमांड आ रही है कि हमारे प्रोडक्ट पर ये वेरिएबल हो, लाइक डायनेमिक QR कोड हो, कि प्रोडक्ट 1 तो 1 कोड हो, प्रोडक्ट 2 का 2 कोड हो। तो ये बहुत ईजी है, लेटेस्ट ट्रेंड में बार कोडिंग है QR का, और ये बहुत सारी ईजी मशीन है जिनसे आप कर सकते हैं। बार कोडिंग प्रिंट करते हुए इनिशियली आप ये ध्यान रखें कि आपका जो लेबल है, अगर आप लेबल लगा रहे हैं तो लेबल एंटी स्क्रैच हो, मतलब उसका भी आप एक रब टेस्ट करें कि 4 प्रोडक्ट या 10 प्रोडक्ट को आपने एक साथ रखा, बार कोड को फेस सिमिलर करके एक साथ रखा आपने, और वही ट्रांसपोर्शन टेस्ट किया उसमें, या आपस में उनको 5 मिनट 10 मिनट रब किया। तो रब करने पे ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आपका बार कोड का इंक है वो स्पेल हो रहा हो, आपस में मर्ज हो रहा हो और बार कोड ही पूरा रिमूव हो। इसके लिए बेसिकली इस तरह की इशू के लिए हमें जो बार कोड प्रिंटर यूज़ करते हैं उसमें सॉल्वेंट बेस यूज़ इंक करते हैं या थर्मल प्रिंटर यूज़ करते हैं। तो थर्मल प्रिंटर में जब भी हम इंक यूज़ करें तो उसको स्पेशली आस्क करें कि हमें एंटी रबिंग इंक चाहिए इसके लिए। थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू, आप सबका टाइम दिया। अगर कोई भी क्वायरी रहती है तो आप मेरे को ईमेल पर कर सकते हैं।
For insightful seminar, very informative information on packaging. I would request Shri Ravi Pasi, former chairman EPCH, to kindly present a memento. Thank you everyone. We meet tomorrow for a very important panel discussion on sustainability, circularity and net zero at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.